Good evening, everybody. This is Eric Foster, of co-founder of the Future Today and Tomorrow Super PAC. And I'm speaking tonight with regards to the Changemaker Initiative. Haven't had a lot of conversation on that over the past couple of months, but it's time to circle back to that because for the cannabis and hemp industry, right now, both industries are under full assault. And the approach that both sectors are taking is an approach that's going to be destined to fail. So, here's what I mean. So, right now, at a state level, you're seeing on the cannabis side a number of states that are attempting to roll back adult use legalization in Massachusetts as well as in Maine. Not the state government, but MAGA so-called Republicans, because I don't really consider them Republicans anymore, members of the MAGA dictatorship party, formerly Republicans. But you're seeing these MAGA electeds and former electeds who are organizing and supporting these ballot initiatives. A new one just started in Maine today. And then in Massachusetts, there's been one going on for a few weeks. Additionally, in Nebraska, even though the voters voted to adopt medical marijuana, the whole process has been sabotaged by the MAGA governor, by the MAGA members of the state legislature, as well as the MAGA attorney general through lawsuits to try to invalidate the election where 67 and 71% of the voters in Nebraska voted to adopt medical marijuana, to slow walking and basically setting up death by regulation emergency rules, and then for the structure of moving the industry forward, to even having a board that is impaneled to manage the medical marijuana program. But then at the same time, when it's time to start issuing licenses, the governor kicks two of the members off the board so they can't move forward, saying that, well, I want to replace them with my own people. But ultimately, what you're doing in reality is you are short circuiting the process. Now, let's couple that with what we're seeing in four states that are at a state level, three states that are wasting money, as I call it, just giving money away. In Florida, True Leave and allies of True Leave are trying again to do a ballot initiative in the state of Florida to adopt adult use marijuana. Now, the Florida market's been going through some issues, but they just spent $150 million in 2023 and 2024 for it to fail. They've done nothing to focus on who the governor will be, to focus on changing the members of the state legislature, to standing against efforts to gerrymander jerry rig the congressional map, where you would ultimately end up with more prohibitionist US congresspersons in the state of Florida. They're still going after this ballot initiative under the guise that, well, this will just make everything okay. No, it won't. So they're going to probably spend another 100 million plus to lose, not change the structure of the state legislature, and give up possibly 2 to 4 seats in Congress to anti-cannabis people. As my cousin Chance always says, where they do that at? Well, it's not just Florida that they do that at. In Idaho, good Lord, Idaho, they are trying to do a medical cannabis initiative to reclassify it from Schedule 1 to Schedule 2, to create a state licensed dispensary system, to allow people to buy medical cannabis from those state licensed facilities, as well as to allow for protections for patients from an employment dynamic, housing, child custody, and other dynamics. Okay, this is Idaho. The chances of that passing in Idaho would be like the chances of the girl I first was in love with back when I was a young man, Darlene, and I somehow reconnecting and getting back together, or my second ex-wife and I somehow reconnecting and getting back together. Neither of those are going to happen. You can always have hope, dream, and belief, but you also have to have some reality. And some of the reality is that's not going to happen. But however much money they spend, one, two, three, $4 million, that's money that's wasted instead of focusing on electing more pro cannabis members to the state legislature and start repealing the anti cannabis members. Because you got to play this the long game. There is no short pathway, there's no magic bullet that a statewide initiative is going to save you, because you see what's happening in Ohio. And I'll get to Ohio in a minute. But then in Oregon, they're doing an initiative to create social lounges or cannabis cafes. Now, honestly, that to me seems like an unnecessary step, because Oregon is a pro cannabis state with a pro cannabis majority in the legislature. A much better use of money and time would be building the structure to support and get the members in the assembly and the governor to support moving in this direction. That's a much better pathway than the money you're going to spend there. And then you know, Oklahoma, where MAGA indoctrination education is the standard, where the government is in a race to the bottom. Once again, the stakeholders in that state are going to try again to do another ballot initiative, which the last go round collectively they spent close to $20 million across the board on all of the activities to try to pass adult use marijuana in Oklahoma, and failed miserably. Oh, and then I forgot Missouri. Missouri, where the hemp side is looking to repeal both of the state constitutional amendments for adult use of medical, with a new constitutional amendment that puts cannabis and hemp in an equalized setting, as well as changes the licensing structure and all of that to give themselves an opportunity. Once again, this is the same state that passed jerry rigged congressional maps to potentially elect another anti cannabis person at the state level to Congress. So, retreating from getting closer to federal legalization. But this is where they think this is a good use of money. I say all this, and then on the hemp side, 39 state attorney generals, MAGA attorney generals, non-MAGA Republican attorney generals, and Democratic attorney generals signed on to a letter to Congress and to the White House asking for regulations that include banning intoxicating hemp-based products. Right now, because of the 2018 Farm Bill and because there was no structure to support the actual building up of an industrial hemp sector, you don't have the foundation for a sector that can create hemp businesses that can make automotive parts, biofuel, manufacturing parts, other things that the industry could make. And so they took the lane that was available, which was consumable products. But now you're going after that without any replacement. Once again, you're getting your butts kicked. You're losing in this battle. This is like the 0-16 Detroit Lions, who I had to suffer through as a Michigan person, a Detroiter, and a Lions fan since I was a child. Now, what you need to do, and that's why we have the Changemaker Initiative, because just like the Detroit Lions, you can't hire Matt Millen to run your organization. And the cannabis industry and the hemp industry right now have been functioning and operating kind of in a mindset like they picked Matt Millen out of the announcer's booth and said, hey, he talks good about football. He played football. He should be able to run a football team. How did that work out for the Detroit Lions? Horribly. Matt Millen is great as an announcer, horrible as a football management person. Well, the industry is going down a similar path as my dear Lions did when they hired Matt Millen, where you've had some victories, just like in the 1990s, we had some success with Barry Sanders and Wayne Fontes, with Bobby Ross, different quarterback schemes and systems from the run and shoot to uh, shot back, shotgun quarterback, three wide outs, Herman Moore, the Mickey Mouse receivers we had, Barry Sanders. I mean, we had a lot of good players back then. Matt Miller gets hired, decides we're scrapping all of that because we don't just want to get to the playoffs, we want to win. And he ends up bankrupting the organization, leading to us going 0-16 as a team, the worst record ever in pro football. So I say all I have to say, cannabis and hemp industry, this is not the time to continue down the path of Matt Millen. We went from having some growth and some victories to now we're losing ground. Federally, I know a lot of people got happy and excited because Donald Trump put out a CBD supporting video about using hemp or cannabis and it healing seniors and making them youthful and young. The man does not like you and does not like the industry. He doesn't like hemp. He doesn't like cannabis. And there's not enough money that we can, as an industry, pay him and his family. We can't bribe him enough. The extortion and protection tax that's required that you see other businesses in the crypto industry paying him, we're not big enough to do. But what we could do is we could take from what the crypto industry has done and we could invest in the Changemaker Initiative. We could invest in winning elections, state and federal. We could invest in engaging the majority consumer universe, which is anywhere from 70 to 80 million of the 241 million eligible voters out here around the country at minimum, that are regular users. And then there's probably people like me who's not someone who uses cannabis or hemp, but who supports the growth of the industry, who works in the industry, who would also be there to support pathways to build the structure for this commodity industry to grow. Then also engaging in different strategies on lobbying and governmental relations because you have to be proactive and you have to diversify who's lobbying for you because the number of elected officials at state levels, at county levels, municipal levels, and federal levels are becoming more diverse, supercharged on the Democratic side, a little bit on the MAGA side, some on the non MAGA Republican side, but ultimately, you're not just talking to white men. No matter what the Department of Homeland Security and the Department of Labor wants you to think, This is not hot white man summer. No disrespect to white men, but this is a hot all of America summer going into the fall, and changing the legal approach to the strategies and tactics that we're taking from a legal dynamic. Now, mind you, I haven't even mentioned some of the other issues that are existing, like in Michigan with the 24% wholesale tax, which is going to negatively hurt the industry, with states that have passed bans on the hemp product side, and then Ohio, which both the Senate Bill 56 and the House amended version of Senate Bill 56 are both bad for the cannabis industry and strip a lot of what the voters approved in 2023. And even though there's a conference committee that's going to happen because the Senate did not adopt what the overwhelming majority of the House passed last week, when they get together and meet, they're meeting to discuss how they're going to basically put their foot up the cannabis industry's behind. And it's just going to be, how far do we stick it up? Do we stick it up 3 inches? Do we stick it up 10 inches? But ultimately, the cannabis industry is going to get fucked at the end of the day. But the efforts are not even there. A lot of the conversation is starting around, well, maybe we should run a new initiative. No, you have to start firing the people who are against you. Imagine you're trying to find some love. Imagine you're trying to find love and you're trying to go out in the world and you go to different places to meet people and you're hoping you can find somebody who will love you. But you got to go out on dates first. Well, if you keep going to a place where every time the people that you're interested in keep telling you no, they don't want to go out on dates with you, the likelihood that you're going to find anybody to even consider liking you enough to go out with you is 0 to 9. So, in that sense, you have to fire that location and go to a different location or go to different places. Well, this is the same concept, continuing to go to the same people who do not want to date you, who don't like you. They don't think you cute. They're not feeling you. But you want to keep going back to them, cannabis and hemp industry. It's not going to work. We have to, if you want change, you have to be about that life. And being about that life includes going to find the places where you can have acceptance. And in this case, on the political side, electing people who support you, engaging your voting consumer base to be fully in the game as wing men and wing women, cheerleading you, making sure that you're lobbying for the places you go to meet that person you love to be open when you go, to have good food, to be regulated well, all the other things that are necessary. And if there's any issues that come up from a legal dynamic, slip and fall or stuff like that, that you got good legal protection. Well, it's the same premise here. The Changemaker Initiative is the pathway to go. And this is why I tie this back to crypto. Because right now, just in the Detroit news, there was an article a couple days ago where the crypto industry and the main stakeholder organizations in the industry are sitting already for 2026 on 269 million to invest in federal and state campaigns to support their industry and to buttress their industry federally. And they've already, a lot of people would say, well, didn't they win? They've gotten legislation passed. They have a person in the White House who is making money off of them. They have a crypto czar in the cabinet. They have Congress, the majority of Congress, they control. Didn't they already win? Yeah, but just like in sports, Once you win, they don't give you the trophy the next season just because you have to keep trying to win again. When the Lions finally got rid of Matt Millen and then got rid of the remnants of Matt Millen with the next administration or the next two regimes, getting Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell was the first step in my 53 years of life where the Detroit Lions finally grew up and decided that they were big people in the big game and started acting like it. They started acting like my New England Patriots. They started acting like the 49ers. They started acting like, well, the Cowboys before Jerry Jones messed up with Jimmy Johnson, but Cowboys of old, Tex Schramm, and that particular leadership and Tom Landry. And they started building a consistent winner. But each year you have to keep modifying and improving. Golden State, that's what Golden State has done. Since they popped on the scene in 2015 and won their first championship, the reason they've been a contender most years ever since is because they continue to modify and adapt. So you have to continue to put in the work. Crypto won a lot of victories. They won victories as a newer industry that we've never won. But we're sitting here still with Matt Millen running our shop, wondering when will it be our year? It's time to fire the Matt Millenization of the cannabis and hemp industry and get with the Dan Campbell, Brad Holmes, New England Patriots, Golden State Warriors, the methodologies that we're proposing from the Changemaker Initiative, which follows a good path of what you see in the crypto industry. They're gearing up to expand their victories, to expand their control of Congress, as well as expand their growth in state legislatures and in governorships. We're not playing the same game that they are, and we need to. So please visit www.futurepack.today/changemaker. There'll be links in the accompanying article and media, social media verbiage with this for you to contribute because we need you to contribute. My email is eric@futurepack.today. We need to meet to work together. We have a game plan. We've mapped things out of how do we go forward in 2026. We were trying to get active in 2025 and it's been a struggle. I'll be honest, but we want to get active in 2026 because it's critical, not just what you do at Congress, but the Pennsylvania House, the New York governor, the Michigan governor and Michigan House, and other legislative bodies where we need to grow majorities, protect turf, and expand and start winning championships. I like winning, don't you? We're not winning, but we can. Remember, change the lawmakers, change our regulatory environment, change our future. That's what the Changemaker Initiative is. Eric Foster, co-founder of the Future Today and Tomorrow Super PAC and co-founder of the Changemaker Initiative. Look forward to talking to you on the other side. Thank you.